Welcome to the Next Level Living podcast, where we connect you with HOA experts who share fresh ideas and new perspectives to elevate your community living. Hey everyone, welcome to the Next Level Living podcast. I'm your host, Summer Blazer, and my co-host, Corey Neubauer. We have a friend of ours and also a real estate professional. Hey, Damian DeBlis is here with us.
Welcome.
Hey.
How you doing?
Welcome,
Thank you.
Dude. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I know. Yo, let's get right in. Real estate. How did you get into this profession? What drew you to it?
Good question. My background is interior design. So I was going to school for that. Started working in design for 10 years. My mom got really busy and was kind of sick of the corporate world. She was in real estate, owned her own businesses in Santa Ana, totally different field, but she got really busy in real estate and she kind of recruited me into the business, started doing flips.
So you got the family business going.
Cool is
Correct.
that?
So
your brother's in the business as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I got my mom, my brother. We're training more agents on a regular basis. We have 2 that are coming on in the next month. So it's a exciting profession. Lots of different moving parts, but I love it. I love it. Making dreams come true. That's what I say. As cheesy as it sounds, it's a great
you really
profession.
are. I mean, an investment of a home, right? Where you're going to spend your life is a big deal.
It's one of the biggest decisions besides picking a partner in marriage or whatever. To me, it is making dreams come true, and it's a big part of it.
And I met Damian quite a few years ago now, where our kids went to the same preschool together.
Right.
And funny enough, they looked almost exactly alike. Where sometimes I went for his child and he went for my child. So
and the birthdays are only a day off too.
It is, and we get the brother thing all the time. So we're kind of a brother from another mother.
Correct.
But we're glad that you're here, and yeah, I definitely want to dig into the real estate side of thing because, it seems like real estate's slowing down, but you seem to be busier than ever, which is, obviously a testament of how hard you guys are working. But I kind of wanted to just dig into where you see the real estate market, right? Interest rates have been through the roof,
correct.
But it's supposed to have slowed down. So what are you seeing? And, for our audience, what advice would you give if you're going to be selling sometime soon? What would be your advice to potential sellers?
A lot of people, I think, have been feeling discouraged because of rates. It's really made it harder for young people, especially young professionals in Orange County, because the rates have gone up so much. So some people thought they were going to go down much sooner than they have been. They've stayed pretty high, and that's been consistent. About 40% of offers in Orange County right now are all cash. They're not affected by interest rates. There's a lot of money in Orange County, and when people are looking to buy their first home, it's definitely going to affect them, right? Or if somebody has a ton of equity and they're at 2.5%, 3%, they're most likely not going to want to go to a $2 or $3 or $4 million house and really triple or quadruple their monthly payment, right? So there's been a lot of people who are staying where they live and
they have
buying
that low
another
interest
home.
rate, right?
Correct.
I have an extremely low interest rate. You do,
too.
Summer, and I know you do as well, Damian, right? It's like, wait, you're going to move and then go to something at 6-7%. So yeah, I think inventory is way down because of
Correct.
that,
Correct. The people that are selling now are people that really of need to. Yeah. So
or the make me move price.
Correct.
Right. So,
correct.
But let's talk about that. The quote asking price, right? I follow the market because I'm a homeowner and I see what's going on. What do you see with what sellers are thinking they're going to get versus what the reality is?
There's a lot of unrealistic sellers out there.
Well, that probably comes from when, it didn't seem that long ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, they were getting 100 over asking or something.
Correct.
Crazy.
We sold one earlier this year in Coto de Caza. We had about 600 or 700 people there in 2 days. We priced it below market, but we had 22 offers on that property.
Wow.
We closed $500,000 above list price.
Wow.
My gosh.
So that is a rarity nowadays. We do price a lot of our listings aggressively, where we get 8 or 9 offers, and that's happened in the last month or two. So there is a consistency. If you price it aggressively and it's a good location, it has great attributes, it will sell for probably above fair market value because there's demand, but it has to be special and it has to be priced well.
Yeah. And there is a lot of demand, right? There's still a lot of people that are on the sidelines, but they just can't afford it. But yeah, if to your point, if it's priced right, and I think that's the interesting thing about real estate, right? It can be anything else, but if it's not priced right, it's not going to sell. Right?
Correct. And we do have kind of a niche market with Orange County.
Yeah.
So I've been working in Big Bear recently, investment properties in La Jolla. I'm in LA,
You're all
open
over
house
the
in
place. I like
Pasadena.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pasadena this weekend, Marina Del Rey. So I do work pretty much everywhere. And South Orange County is a very niche market where values have risen so much, but there's not as much interest if you don't price it well.
Yeah.
So, somebody that bought for $2 million, let's say 7 years ago, the house isn't worth 4 or 4.2, right? So
and crazy that we're talking those kind of numbers, right?
it is. It is.
I mean, that's
compared-
the reality of today, right? Yeah.
Compared to the rest of the country, right? But it's going to continue. And so where do you see that? Like, do you see, we see, or I've read, multiple things that, real estate goes in kind of a 17-year cycle, from crest to crest, but we've seen the property values just continue to increase. Do you see an end?
Huge jump. Yeah, huge jump. So there was a transition, especially after COVID, right? People weren't traveling. They were buying the home in La Quinta and Palm Springs and Big Bear and Mammoth and Lake Tahoe. And those markets, people, to be honest, overpaid during that time because there were bidding wars and they couldn't travel much. So they wanted to go locally. People from the Bay were going to Tahoe. People from LA were going to Big Bear or Palm Springs. They were driving, obviously. So there has been a transition from bigger markets like Los Angeles or the Bay Area to Southern California because of quality of life, because of, safety, schools, et cetera. But essentially, I think the market will continue to go up. If rates come down, which I think they will, I really feel like the market is going to continue to go up. It's not going to be the huge jumps that we've seen, but for sellers, you do have to be realistic with expectations. So, if that client wants a certain number and it's unrealistic, you have to, be transparent.
And then how do you get the client to be realistic, or what's that kind of evaluation process? Because right now everyone's got Redfin, they got all these things where everyone thinks they're a real estate professional, right?
Question.
Well, you can ask ChatGPT to make me a so-and-so, right? And they'll give you everything. So what would be, you're meeting with a client for the first time, how do you get them to understand what the reality is?
That's a great question. So analytics and comps.
Okay.
So, that person that, says my home's worth this much, and they're comparing their 1985 semi-original home to a
fully custom
2020 new build, even though it's on a smaller lot and their view is not as good, it's a different type of comp. So using analytics, essentially. And then again, you want to price it aggressively. To me, that's the most important thing to get views. You do see a lot of homeowners that don't price it aggressively, and they do price reduction after price reduction. Even investors.
Yeah, then it's a stale listing, right? There's something wrong with it.
Correct.
Kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and it goes in under contract once, it falls out.
Yeah,
people think there's something wrong with it. What happened on inspection? Things like that.
Well, we do focus on insurance. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But how are you seeing the insurance side of things affecting, particularly HOAs, right? I mean, most properties in Orange County now are part of some type of HOA.
Correct.
And if it's a condo, and you talked about first-time home buyers, most first-time home buyers are having to do a condo because buying a single-family home is now $2 million, right? So we talked about a little bit before in prep, but what are you seeing of how the insurance is affecting, the sales transaction?
The perspective from a realtor is it's hurting sellers who aren't anticipating that huge jump or a special assessment or whatever else. Insurance is a huge part of being prepared for the sale of SFR or a condo. And you want to make sure that they have great reserves, that they do have enough insurance. That's a huge part of it, is that they have enough insurance, because even just recently sold one in Laguna earlier this year, and the HOA for across the way, different association, went from 550 to 825 or something like that in a very short period of time, right? So it does hurt sellers. It hurts the whole neighborhood when you have a huge jump or you have a huge special assessment.
Yeah, and we see that, right? It really comes down to, right, what is the monthly cost that someone can afford, right?
Correct.
The interest rates have gone through the roof, and now when you put that on top of, we were talking too about, if it's property taxes plus HOA dues plus the mortgage, what is that monthly spend?
Correct. And
that,
will the lender approve you?
Yeah.
When you do have that huge jump, right? And there's just a lot of confusion, I think, because these things do take time when they do jump, but all of a sudden a homeowner will receive that special assessment.
Yeah.
Or that huge, jump. And it's scary. It's scary for homeowners.
We just had a board meeting last night that and they're facing that. They're looking at anywhere from a $3,000 to $4,500 annual assessment just to cover the insurance.
Annual assessment
on top of that, right? Because
that's the thing. It's not a one-time thing. Yeah. It's just
the problem.
The
problem with that is right. You get a new roof and you get a special assessment. You get the value for the next 30 years.
Correct.
Right. Insurance is for 1 year.
Correct.
So this is going to continue. So it's what is that long-term cost for the insurance, and how is that going to impact where you guide your clients, right? Yeah, I know your mom lives in Codo, and right, super high fire risk area. We see a lot of HOAs in there that are seeing 10x increases.
Correct.
So for you and for our viewers out there, if you're looking at properties, understanding that insurance costs long term is going to be something that impacts. I know we've helped you with, hey, we're looking at 2 different properties. Let's quote both of these.
Yeah.
One might have a $4,000 annual insurance, and the other one might be $15,000. That's going to impact which property you go after.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Summer, what's on your mind over here, lady?
Well, I was thinking about that's where we're at now. What do you foresee, 12, 18 months out? What do you think the market is going to look like?
For condos or in general? I think we're in a pretty niche market. So I feel like South Orange County is going to appreciate gradually. With the special assessments, with insurance, everybody's taking it into consideration. So it is important to know what you can afford, obviously, not live beyond your means, things like that. But as far as the market, I think it's going to continue to appreciate. A lot of the people that I talk to, they're in their professional career. They could be attorneys, have clients that are doctors, entrepreneurs. Right. Most people have been doing well enough where they're fine with the cost of living going up. It's not great, right? But they're not going to be selling their house and moving out of state for the most part.
Right.
Which you do see sometimes, though. Yeah. People are just sick of it and they're like, you know what? My cost of living's too high. I'm not going to keep paying this expensive gas or what have you. So you do see that. But a lot of people that move out of state, they also want to come back. Yeah. Right. California is special. California is really special.
Well, I was talking to your mom, and she had said that there's a number of clients that they've had that have left, and now they're like,
for sure,
they're like, hey, how do we come back? But now, I mean,
all over
coming back is
going
painful.
to Memphis, going to Florida, Ozarks, North Carolina. A lot a people, our friend, in Boise. Right. There's a lot of people that leave and then they still come back for vacation. They have family ties, what have you. But you do obviously get a lot more for your money out of state.
Of course.
And that's a big part of it is, but again, you still see a lot of people that do want to come back. Yeah. I was in Laguna Beach this morning walking Heisler Park. I do that 2 or 3 times a week just to decompress. Yeah. There's not a lot of places that are that beautiful that are, 5 miles from our house. Yeah. Right. So.
We are blessed to live in such a gorgeous place, but there's a cost in it, and that cost keeps going up.
There's a cost.
Yeah.
Most families I know, you have 2 working parents,
have to.
right?
I mean, you have to.
The doctor client, I have a new listing coming up in Newport. This guy, I met with him the other day. He was working 24 hours a day. His wife works, nonstop. They're hustlers, but you gotta pay to play.
And in this day and age, especially in California, right? You have to have 2 people that are ready to hustle. Yeah. Because it is everything has gone up. Right?
For sure.
Schools, cost of school, cost of real estate, cost of food, everything. So.
But I'm not leaving.
Yeah, I know. Right?
I love it here.
Well, you just got to work harder. Right?
Work harder.
Just work harder.
Right.
So it's never been an interest to move out of state.
Somewhat. And I think about it. My family's here. I'm from here. I've lived in 32 homes all throughout Orange County. I moved around a lot, and part of me, sometimes thinks about it, but I love California. Yeah, I love South Orange County. Yeah.
So we got a question here, which I like,
okay,
because I know you're passionate about finding people their next home. So give me a client story where you were able to overcome, a major issue or something that was just, maybe they had a death in the family or something that was a huge hurdle that you guys were able to come up with a creative solution, or you had a really good outcome.
I don't want to be too specific because it is sensitive,
Of
but
course.
we've had, and I'll speak in general, but we've had clients where, a child commits suicide right before we have open houses. We've had situations where a client is going through a divorce, very messy divorce. They're not talking. They have to basically, we're the referees. Being a realtor is not just buying and selling a house.
You're like a psychologist, right?
You're like a therapist.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I need my own therapy because of it, right?
I bet.
So you do see
A lot of
people's-
tragedy, right? That you have to try to make.
Yeah. And then, right now,
lemonade out of lemons.
correct.
Yeah.
And you see all sides of it. You could have somebody that, has dementia.
Yeah.
And, they stop talking to their family, and now you have a trustee involved and they're handling the estate sale, right? Or you could have, like right now I'm working with their clients, but they're really more friends.
Yeah.
She's got a young child. They have a young child together. She's also pregnant, and I'm helping them sell their home and buy a new home.
Right.
That's bigger and closer to the beach. So
Right.
that you see all different types of situations, which is interesting and cool and, can be, therapeutic,
But it's also stressful.
but also stressful. It's probably, and even speaking from my own experience, I wasn't licensed when I bought my house with my wife.
Yeah.
It's one of the most stressful experiences ever.
Yeah.
We almost
it's-
didn't get our house.
And it's not logical, right? Like
No.
most people, if you haven't been through it, this might be a process that you go through once or twice in your entire life.
Correct.
So yeah, having that professional walk hand in hand with you
Correct.
to navigate that's so important. We have the same thing now with the insurance on these large HOAs, right? That are
Yeah.
they're facing a 10x increase. It's like, wait, what do we do and how do we navigate this? So I think it's so important to rely on your professionals. That's why you're here, to give a little bit of insight. We appreciate your insight on things, because it is
It's a lot of moving parts.
yes,
Right.
yeah, and it doesn't seem. But we talk a lot. I like to talk, and I use a lot of AI stuff. How is kind of the AI side of things permeated into your space, good and bad?
Well, there's two different sides of it, right? You have clients using AI.
Yeah.
We're in a very competitive, cutthroat business as well. So everybody knows a realtor +5.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's 4 realtors that live on my little cul-de-sac. So, there is a lot of competition.
Boxing match.
We should.
Yeah,
we should. I might come out on top.
The new sitcom. Oh, look at this guy. I like it.
how does that work? Do you guys like fist bump in the middle of the street, or are you guys
I got a friend that works one of the big corporate jobs. I got a next door neighbor. She's amazing. She's kind of like the queen of Laguna Woods. I think you may know her, Donna. Yeah, Donna's amazing. Hats off to Donna. She probably does 70 transactions a year.
Wow.
In Laguna Woods, which is a very
Challenging.
difficult,
Yeah.
very challenging.
Because it's got an HOA, right?
One
part of it.
One of the things.
The co-ops, everything else.
When you see other real estate agents, are you guys buddies, or is it kind of like, oh, you're my competition?
Both, I
Yeah.
would say. I look up to a lot of realtors. There's a lot of big realtors, obviously, in Orange County. Some of them who I've become friends with, and they'll give me advice, which is great.
Oh, that's
My
nice.
mom is one of the most amazing people I know. I'm very lucky, and I still go to her. I talk to her probably 15 to 30 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's not just about business, but it mostly is about business.
Yeah.
And I rely on her so much. So having good mentors and leaders, because I've only been doing this 10 years, which may sound like a long time, because I do have, I don't know how many transactions. It's a lot, but when you do have questions, to be able to go to somebody that knows their shit, so to speak, I really rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's special too. That's
It is
special to
special.
have that type of professional relationship and then have the family relationship. Because again, at the end of the day, you guys are building your empire.
Yeah.
And it is, your reputation is everything, right?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, you're selling the property, but you're selling your services and your expertise. So,
Correct. And to touch more on the AI aspect.
yes, that's what
there
you go.
I'm sorry,
That's
I
what
got it
we're
back.
talking
I got it back. Not enough Red Bull, I guess. Anyways, the fact that clients are using AI and they're so well versed, they know they're using the Redfin, the Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, whatever it is. They can look at the comps, the price per square foot, the lot size, when it's sold. Most people don't know that comps are the last 6 months. An appraiser is not going to use anything that's past 6 months. So when the neighbor sold their house 9 months ago for this much, and it was a really special house, and they had a bidding war, and they think that their house may be worth the same, you're not going to be able to use that,
Gotcha.
especially, if they're getting a loan.
But it's got to help too on the other side of
Correct.
You have a lot of tedious work to do, right?
Correct.
presentations together, all these other things where,
Correct.
I see it, that it's getting more polished. You can respond quicker, right? You can get the detail. So how do you leverage that?
Well, my brother is kind of the king of AI. He's a published author. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And he uses AI on a daily basis. And I do as well. But he's our marketing director, business operations, kind of behind the scenes. He's not into sales. He doesn't do open houses or showings or
you got to have your
inspections.
bullpen of people, right?
Correct.
Right? Yeah. My wife's in the background, right? I'm in the front.
Yeah.
You need all the players. So
you have to know who to rely on and what their strengths and weaknesses are. And my strengths is people, sales. I would say negotiations is probably one of my strongest.
This is Mr. ABC right here. Always be closing. I appreciate it.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
You can open anybody, and I appreciate that. He's one of the most charismatic guys that I know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
likewise.
What else we got, Summer?
You're a good dude.
Yes.
What advice would you give to a homeowner in an HOA that wants to sell? Are there things that you're like, we need to prepare for X, Y, and Z?
Okay, so let's say, Charles calls me and says, hey, I want to sell my condo in Aliso Viejo, right? Okay, who's the property manager, right? What are what's the condition of the property in general? So is there any other upkeep? Do you have termite work that needs to be done that hasn't been addressed? Is the grass long and dead? Right? From my perspective, I want to make sure that it's a business. It's a business decision. You want to get them the most amount of money, correct? So essentially, you want to go to the HOA and make sure that their reserves are good. You want to see if there's any special assessments.
I love that you say that, because in the past, I don't even think people understood what a reserve study was.
Right.
What the financial health of the HOA is, and that's becoming
it's
so
huge.
much more important.
It's so huge. To me, it could be the difference between 50, 100,000 or more that they net. Because if you're not well versed and you don't know the condition of the reserves, if there's one specifically in Marina del Rey, Playa, that I just showed, they're going to have a $64,000 special assessment for balconies.
Yes,
for balconies.
Yeah, that SB
64,000. So and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
So obviously, when my buyer looks at that and says, "Hey, have they done balcony inspections? How are the reserves? Is there any special assessments?" And the agent doesn't know a whole lot, maybe, right? Or they don't, care to share that, or they just don't know because they haven't spent the time, or the seller doesn't want to disclose that. There's a lot of ins and outs where you want to make sure that you know what you're getting into. And my representation towards the buyer, my fiduciary duty is to make sure that they don't have an unanticipated cost later down the road. So,
and I'm glad to hear that, because we haven't seen that happening in the past. So if it's education, or I'm sure a lot of this is getting burned, right? Because we see some professionals that they take a listing and then there's not enough insurance and they can't get a loan.
Yeah.
So for you, do you want to take a listing without doing that due diligence, right? Hey, is the client good? But now it's, wait, is the HOA healthy enough to actually warrant an actual sale? Because we have many clients that all they can do is a cash transaction, because it won't qualify for FHA lending.
Wow.
So if you can't do that, then that goes back to the property values.
Depletes the value.
Right. How much is something worth if you can't sell it? Or you said 40% of buyers are cash. So now you just alienated 60% of your buyers because of the financial hardship of the HOA.
Absolutely. And a lot of investors don't like condos for that reason.
Right.
There's so much uncertainty. They'd rather have an SFR with zero HOA or a low HOA with good reserves versus a condo.
And you're saying single family home, right?
Yeah, SFR is single family residence.
We throw a lot of acronyms around from that perspective. But so what do you see with those cash buyers that are coming in? I've always known, hey, if you're paying cash, you're paying a less price, right? So is that impacting the offering prices, or they just have less competition now?
It depends. For the one that I gave the example in Coto de Casa before, the seller didn't choose an all cash buyer. We had many all cash buyers.
Okay.
We also had sight unseen investor buyers. A lot of investors, they will make an offer on a home, and we call them kind of reservation holders.
Gotcha.
It's unfortunate because they'll try to go under contract on multiple properties, negotiate, and after inspections they might negotiate more. Depends on the situation, to be honest. But because 40% of buyers are all cash, I think sellers, they would prefer somebody who doesn't have the appraisal contingency, doesn't have the loan contingency. They can close more quickly. I've negotiated deals where, an investor, they like somebody to stay long-term. So if that seller wants to have 6 months to peruse another property, they don't know where they want to go.
Gives you some flexibility, right?
Correct. And then, they have the option, let's say at a fair market value, to rent beyond that. But I've negotiated things like that where somebody gets 8 months for free. And they get to live in that house for free for 8 months while they peruse. And the investor's like, okay, well, I'm still getting my permits and plans in place to remodel or do an addition, whatever else. So,
right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of see it from a whole different angle from that perspective. So I don't know. It's, I'm intrigued that you think that the market's going to continue to go up, because I think the same thing, but it's also this thing of like, can it just keep going up? Right? Like
California.
I know.
California, baby.
It's crazy. I don't know.
It does seem strange. Like
what's your thought?
Home, our home, which is a townhome, attached home, doubled in value in just the last 12 years, which is bizarre.
Congratulations.
Bizarre.
It feels amazing though, right?
It does. It does. And, I'm like,
but then it's like, where do you go?
I want to sell. But my husband says, where are we going to go? And I said, we're going to go rent in Laguna Beach.
I would discourage you from doing that. I'd buy another property if I were you.
I would discourage you from doing that.
I told you, ABC right there. Look, he's always closing.
No, I'm not going to get your listing, but I'll help you buy an investment property. But listen, if you have that, okay, you doubled your home in 12 years, right? Yeah. My home's more than doubled in 10 and a half, 11 years, right? Corey's same thing. A lot of people we know have built a lot of equity. Yeah. A lot of people also sold in, let's say, 21, 22. And also have done very well and did something else and have probably done pretty well. If they were renting, not so much, right? But if they've bought, probably seen some increases even since 21 and 22.
Which is crazy,
modest,
right? Yeah.
Modest increases. At the same time, what's that townhome or single family residence going to be worth in another 10 or 12 years?
Yeah.
Is it going to be double? I don't think so.
Right.
But is it going to go up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And nobody can predict. Nobody has the magic 8 ball, right? But California has been a very steady, appreciative market.
And it's, just the basic supply and demand, right? And interest rates, I don't want to say they can't stay at this rate, but I mean, the downward trend is there, right? Just like with insurance, right? We've seen it spike way up, but we're seeing it leveling off, right? We're not going to see that continued huge increase. And I think that's what will happen with interest rates. If those continue to go down a little bit, those people on the sidelines are now, hey, now we can jump in the market. But will the price have gone up where your monthly is still about the same? So I think we've had conversation about this of like, if you're waiting for something, don't, right?
Yeah.
It's like, figure this out.
And don't buy property for short-term appreciation. That's not, that's not the market. That's not what I preach to investors.
Right.
I'm doing I have one in escrow in Big Bear. I'm going up there on Tuesday for an inspection. Good friend of mine, known him a long time, firefighter, really good guy, right? He bought a house in La Quinta with me last year. He bought a house previously in the desert. He did very well on that and then bought in La Quinta. Now he's buying in Big Bear. Long-term wealth.
Yeah.
Buying real estate in California is generally not a bad idea.
Yeah. One of my mentors said you buy real estate in California.
Yeah.
You don't sell it. You buy it.
Correct.
So how do you make enough to get to the next one?
Correct.
Overall, but that's,
I know I keep thinking, how do these young kids that want to buy a home, how do they do it?
Well, talking about that, right? I've seen certain reports, right? It used to be in their early 30s, you would be able to buy a house. Now I think it's somewhere in 42 is the average first-time home buyer, right? Because first you have to have 2 incomes. So you have to have probably paired up with somebody. And then, both be making a decent amount of money to be able to afford that, because it is challenging. So,
let's talk about outside of real estate.
Okay.
What do you love to do? What's your?
Gosh, all I do is work and watch my kids and travel for the most part.
Actually, those all sound like great things.
Yeah, because we have so much going on right now. It's been nonstop, and the kids being out of school and the camps, and this is the first week back, so it's been a little hectic lately. We haven't been doing as much traveling as we have been accustomed to, but we're doing some staycations. So what do I like to do? I like to go to Pelican Hill. Yes. Love to go to Laguna Beach. I kind of mentioned that earlier. Love walking around Heisler with my dogs, spending time with my kids, friends. I have great neighbors and friends. My cousin's in Laguna. My brother, is in Irvine. So
That's
a lot of
awesome.
time with friends and family,
You got a good
Yeah.
family unit. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your wife, your kids, your extended family.
Very blessed.
It's a bless, right?
My mom helps out with the kids, my mother-in-law. So a lot of family things, which is awesome.
Which makes you want to work even harder, right?
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's lovely when you love what you do.
Yeah, and I really do. It's challenging at times, and it can be very feast or famine. So you do have the ebbs and flows, but at the same time, helping my friends, where she's 5 months pregnant and getting them into the house that they really love and closer to the beach and closer to their family,
Yeah.
closer to work. I'm gonna help improve their life. It's not about the commission or the money. To me, I'll do anything I can to make their dream a reality.
And you know what?
So-
That reminds me, because I'm looking at a couple of these things. You too. I've talked to you some before. You're helping someone stage their house. You're
Yeah.
helping someone move out. I think you become that resource. And we have this little segment called "I Got a Guy," right? Like I
Yeah.
got a guy for everything.
Yeah.
And I think you have that for that real estate transaction, because there's the gardeners. You need an attorney. You need a construction. You need
that doctor client that I told you about recently, who's working 24-hour days and like literally is falling asleep on calls and things like that.
Yeah,
the guy is obviously successful, right? He's obviously worked really hard to be where he's at.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I make his life easier.
Yeah.
So when I manage his investment property, I am the one he's asking me the other day, do you have a junk removal firm? I am the junk remover. I'm going to be there with the truck whenever you need me to be there.
Right.
I'll be there with the handyman, my painter.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I have, full house cleaning with my team.
Yeah.
Obviously we do as much as we can to make the lives of our clients easier. And that's kind of our credo is, if you treat a client like a family member, you'll get their referral business. They're going to be talking about you to all their friends. You're not going to have to worry about business in the future because they love you. They're never going to work with anybody else.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That's so, and that's lost today.
Yeah.
People, it's very transactional, right? To your point, like
the hustle. There's a lot of, hate to say it, there's a lot of lazy people, agents out there that are,
Well, that's a plus for you.
Should we name some names?
Yeah. No.
No.
I'm
I'm kidding, please.
I won't name names. Never.
I know. We know you wouldn't.
Yeah, this guy, this girl. No, that's how
we'll put it in the notes.
But I'll tell you a story very briefly. So the reason my mom got into real estate, she bought a house in Big Canyon, right? Agent was MIA, did a terrible job. It was kind of a referral. On closing day, she shows up in a brand new, $80,000 Mercedes, which back then was, the top of the line Mercedes, right? She was not a good agent. She was not professional. She was like, I could do this better.
Yeah.
She did it for 10 or 12 years and then I got into it.
Yeah.
So your experience with people that are maybe subpar, they make you want to work harder and be better.
That's so true.
Necessity is the mother of all invention, right? It's like, right, you can do it better. And it is just put your hat on like the client or the customer. What would you want? What experience would you want to have?
Exactly.
I think all of us,
it's a golden rule.
Yeah. Once we get into a profession, we just assume that everybody else knows all this stuff. But right, how do you re-educate? Because literally every time you have a transaction, you're an educator.
Mm-hmm.
This is how the process goes. This is what you might think happens, but this is what the reality is. Because just in insurance, the same thing. A lot of it's not logical. Like, wait, why do we have to do all this stuff? Contingencies and all these things. So yeah, you're a continued educator and counselor through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I like that right, you treat people right and they're going to come back when they need your service.
Be responsive, be communicative, know what you're talking about, know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Give good advice. Hopefully they follow it.
Yeah.
That's the one challenge is, obviously getting clients is always challenging, but we have enough referral business and repeat business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, getting people to entrust you, because it is a big decision.
Yeah.
It's probably the most, the most important business decision in people's lives is the equity and what they're doing with their lives as far as moving.
So this wasn't on the list, but when do you fire a client?
Ooh.
I imagine it's happened before.
It has.
I would imagine it's
flashback.
It's right.
Flashback.
Right. PTSD, right?
When you're being disrespected, which doesn't happen very often. We do a lot of repeat referral business, but when you have somebody that is off their meds, so to speak, and blames you for something that you're not, a part of, unrealistic it's very few. And
we say go where you're celebrated, right? If you're not being celebrated, then that's not a good transaction for either party.
Correct.
So we have to do that sometimes as well. But
when it's not worth your time, and they would be better off working with somebody else.
Yeah. It's hopefully that doesn't happen too often, right?
It doesn't. Yeah. I think honestly, we've only had that happen once or twice out of hundreds of transactions.
And I'm sure now that you're just like someone might interview you, you're also interviewing them, right?
Correct.
Like are they logical? Do they have an asset that you could actually sell?
Well, yeah, because we're not discount brokerages. We're not gonna do all the work. I'm not gonna be doing the junk removal and talking to 4 different inspectors and handyman and painters. I'm not gonna spend literally hundreds of hours on a transaction if I'm not appreciated or paid accordingly. Yeah. And nobody goes to Kaiser Permanente and asks their surgeon to give them a 50% discount, right? So you have to know your value.
Yeah.
And sometimes, when somebody wants to negotiate you down to,
0
pennies, it doesn't make sense. And that's when it's like, go with the discount broker that you can't get a hold of. And, that's sometimes it's, that does happen.
Well, we talk about that too. It's like, do you want Costco or do you want Whole Foods, right? Like, you can go get that experience, but those things are going to be missing. And if it's something that it's a transaction once or twice in your life, you might miss out on a few things.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, but all right.
Mm-hmm.
Know your worth though. You have to know your worth and just do a good job.
Yes. Right? Well, that's that's a thing of the past sometimes too. Yeah, we see. But you were talking about just of your clients moving around to different places. We see like return to office, right? A lot of people during the pandemic, they were like, "Oh, you'd never have to come back to the office," and they've moved far away. Do you see some selling or some issues with that? Because we see people that are like, "Hey, I'm either having to switch jobs or I got to go back in the office 5 days a week."
Yeah.
And now I can't commute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't want to spend 10 hours a week in the car.
Yeah.
You go to LA, it could take you 3 hours to go, 18 miles. So I would say the remote, a lot of people came from the Bay and LA area to South Orange County. Some of them are getting called back part-time. There has been a lot of remote jobs. One client is going to be moving back to Laguna from Arizona. So I'll be helping them sell maybe one investment property here, and then they can, buy a bigger home in South Orange County. So we are seeing that.
So
people did move out of state because of that.
Yeah.
Because they could get a lot for their money out of state. Yeah. They could work remote, buy that second or third home, do whatever they wanted, and now, maybe they're getting called back to the branch.
It is interesting of kind of the different types of people that work, right? It's like you have 18-year-olds and 50 or 60-year-olds, they don't work the same. Right. But it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of all shakes out.
Yeah, but life's too short not to live where you want to live.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can, I say this sometimes, I'd rather live in a 1-bedroom, or a studio with my family of 4 and 2 dogs versus, living in, Bum Cup, wherever it is.
Yes. We won't name the spot. But
Egypt.
Yes.
But be it whatever you call it. Anyways, but that's
we
my
definitely
point.
pay the sunshine tax here for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
So, but all right. Well, what else we got, Summer?
I think this is great.
Yes.
You have some?
I think this is fantastic.
Good. Right.
Yes. Well, how can they get a hold of you, right? The camera's here. Obviously, our whole thing is here is to highlight people that are bringing value. And we know you bring a ton of value.
You got to call Corey to get a hold of me.
No, not please. Yeah.
No, we have our website, deblisgroup.com. You can reach me at 949-836-1140. I'm up late. I'm up early. So, I'm definitely responsive. You can reach me anytime, text or call me. But yeah, website, Instagram, social media.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, let's, before we leave too, just that the impact of social media.
Yeah.
Right. Like I see you're very active on social media and stuff. How do you see it? Because we're trying to increase our span with the social media stuff. Like what's kind of your philosophy on social media and how much that's important to your business?
I think it's very important. One-on-ones to me is also extremely important. I've, believe it or not, I'm a little shy of the camera. So, even coming on a podcast with you guys is a little intimidating. It's some nervousness. You guys are friends.
You would not think it.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic.
But for me, it's a little nerve-wracking being in front of the camera. So adjusting to that and getting more comfortable and putting yourself out there, and also realizing we all have our strengths and weaknesses. We all have our faults, you know. We all want to be likable. We all want people that want to work with us, which I think, in business and sales is really, really important.
Yeah.
So social media, my brother does a lot of that stuff too, all of our marketing, but also I'm just busy. So I'm out there, I'm posting in Big Bear, I'll post in La Jolla, wherever I'm at. And I try to have people experience, what we do as realtors, because there's a lot to it,
Yeah, I think that's been a big shift lately, and that's what we're trying to do too, is just expose what it is you do, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of some of the cloudiness of like, well, wait, I thought you just do this, this, and this. Like you see all the things. We do the same thing, right? If I'm not writing your insurance policy, we're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Same thing with you. You do a lot of pre-work, and a lot of good faith. You do a lot of work in good faith.
For sure.
So understanding that too, that right, there's professionals that are working really hard on your behalf, and just switching at the last second or sending a text going, hey, this doesn't work, or whatever it might be, really trying to, and I think it goes back to the value that you put in yourself, and making sure that your client understands that, hey, we're bringing value to the table. And if you don't see that value, then right, you don't want to spend, time on that, especially, I have small kids too. It's an exchange for the time with my family.
Yeah.
Right. And it really needs to be important that you perceive, that this relationship is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Is you have to show value. You have to go above and beyond if you want their business, right? And that to me is important because, there have been times, this was years when I first started out in real estate. It was Father's Day. I was a new dad, and we were pressed to get a listing on. I was over there on Father's Day cutting down shrubs with my chainsaw, and posting videos about it, and was really going above and beyond for the client. They weren't that appreciative. They didn't really care that much, So sometimes you do have to know your value, but you also, it's great to show appreciation too.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely. I think you work with people that appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then the ones that don't, you don't.
Correct.
Yeah. So, well, hey, we appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have you on again in maybe another 12, 18 months and see what our forecast for, overall. So thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here with us on the Next Level Living podcast. See you next time.